blessings, invoking the blessings of God and Guru. So I'm going to share my screen and then we'll get started. All right. Sorry. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Radhe, good morning, good evening again to all of you. Very warm welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. So today we will conclude our discussion on the shloka that we were discussing. That is 4.31. We spoke about what is sacrifice. We will look at the different ways of sacrifice today as well. We've been talking about yajna, sacrifice. Yesterday we spoke about what happens when we don't do sacrifice. We looked at the other extreme of it. And today we will conclude our discussion by bringing it all together and also looking at how we can engage ourselves in sacrifice, and then what happens when you do that, right? It builds over a period of time. So we will get into that bit of that discussion as well. So we'll try to put it all together just so that we can cover this shloka in its entirety. So I'll recite it and you are welcome to follow along. Yagya Shishtamrita Bhujo Yanti Brahma Sanatanam Nayam Lokostya Yagyasya Tonya Kuru Sattama. Okay. Do you have any volunteers?
I see Samji's hand raised. Radhe Radhe Samji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Samji.
Yajnashishtamrutam bhujo yanti brahma sanatanam nayam loko astya yagnasya kuto anya kuru sattama. Radhe Radhe.
Very nice, Samji.
Palji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Palji.
Radhe Radhe. Yagya Shishtamrito Bhujo Yanti Brahma Sanatanam Nayam Lokasta Yagyasya Kuntun Anya Kuru Satama. Radhe Radhe.
Kutonya. Yeah.
Kutonya.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You remembered Kunti, so she might be pleased. So very nice though. All right, let's move on.
Dineshji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Dineshji.
Yeah. Yagna Seshta Mruta Bhujo Yanti Brahma Sanatanam Nayam Lokosya Yagnasya Kutonya Kuru Sattama. Radhe Radhe.
Dineshji, Radhe Radhe.
Surendraji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Surendraji.
Radhe Radhe Prabhu, thank you.
Radhe Radhe.
Yaj Shishtamrita Bhujo Yanti Brahma Sanatanam Nayam Lokosta Yagasya Kutonyaya Kuru Satam. Radhe Radhe.
Very nice, Surendraji, Radhe Radhe. Okay.
Sandhyaji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Sandhya.
Radhe Radhe. Yagya Shishtamrita Bhujo Yanti Brahma Sanatanam Nayam Lokostya Yagyasya कुतोऽन्यः कुरु सत्तमा.
Very nice, Sandhya. Radhe Radhe.
Shefali ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Shefali.
राधे राधे यज्ञशिष्टामृतभुजो यान्ति ब्रह्म सनातनं नायं लोकस्य यज्ञस्य कुतोऽन्यः कुरु सत्तम. राधे राधे.
Nice, Shefali. Radhe Radhe.
Rahul ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Shyam.
Radhe Shyam.
यज्ञशिष्टामृत भुजो यान्ति ब्रह्म सनातनमः नायं लोकोऽस्ति यज्ञस्य कुतोऽन्य कुरु सत्तमः. राधे
Thank
राधे.
you, Rahul. Radhe Radhe. All right, we're down to our last three hands.
Radhe Radhe.
Hello.
Suyakiran ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Surya Kiranji, there's a lot of, okay,
Yeah.
fix your audio.
Sri Ramya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah.
राधे राधे
Radhe Radhe.
यज्ञशिष्टामृता भुजो यान्ति ब्रह्म सनातनं नायं लोकोऽस्य यज्ञस्य कुतोऽन्यः कुरु सत्तमा.
Wonderful, very nice. Shiramya. All right, let's take the remaining hands real quick and then we'll get started.
Pragi ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Pragiji.
राधे राधे
Radhe Radhe.
यज्ञशिष्टामृतभुजो यान्ति ब्रह्म सनातनं नायं लोकोऽस्ति यज्ञस्य कुतो अन्यः कुरु सत्तम.
Very nice, Pragiji. Radhe Radhe. All right, last two hands.
Yeah. Ashutosh ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
राधे राधे
Radhe Radhe.
यज्ञशिष्टामृत भुजो यान्ति ब्रह्म सनातनं नायं लोकोऽस्ति यज्ञस्य कुतोऽन्यः कुरु सत्तम.
Wonderful, Ashutosh. Last but not the least, Sumeshi.
Radhe Radhe, Sumesh ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe ji, Radhe Radhe everyone. Yajna bhujo yanti brahma sanatanam nayam lokosta yajnasya kutonya kuru sattama. Radhe Radhe. Thank
Very nice, Sumeshi. Radhe Radhe. So let's get started. So short translation for this shloka goes like, those who know the secret, give me a sec. Those who know the secret of sacrifice and engaging in it, partake of its remnants that are like nectar, advance toward the absolute truth. O best of the Kurus, those who perform no sacrifice find no happiness either in this world or the next. So God is saying no happiness either in this world or the next. So he's already talking about there is a world after this, okay, directly. So people who question or who say there is no life, the shloka is addressing that anyways, right? He's already spoken about the concept of reincarnation and in so many other shlokas as well, when he tells Arjun that, you and I have existed since time eternity. You may not remember, but I remember everything across all your lifetimes. So anyways, let's move on. What we are going to discuss today, let's get directly to the topic today. So if we look at it, the secret of sacrifice, as we've been discussing, is understanding that it needs to be tied to the pleasure of God. That is what sacrifice becomes. And then the remnants can be taken as his prasad. Okay. From eating, we can understand this concept, right? But then the sacrifice can actually be exercised in so many ways. We will touch upon those as well a little bit. However, the straight or the something directly perceptible kind of a sacrifice is when we speak about taking remnants as his prasad. Okay. So this is what sacrifice, from eating standpoint stands for. We've been talking about this discussion of yajna, which is another name for sacrifice, and we spoke about dravya yajna, yog yajna, tap yajna, gyan yajna, and bhakti anyway we do, right? And we also spoke about the fact, the very fact we are sitting here is also a yajna. It is also kind of a gyan yajna that we are doing, reading Bhagavad Gita. It is called an intellectual sacrifice. The key is that you attach your activity to the pleasure of God, not pleasure of your own senses. That's it. That is a simple, what you call that, parameter to say whether it is a yajna, yog, or it is a bhog. When it is tied to satiating or indulging in sense gratification, it becomes bhog. And when it is done as an activity for the pleasure of God, then it becomes yog. That is the only difference. Activity could be the same. Now let's move on and look at some of the deeper things about this topic. So, what is the nature of prasad? Where does partaking of prasad leads us to? Now, devotees of Lord, they partake of food after offering it to him. That is the first thing. That is a good practice. If we don't have it, we should bring it to the fold. Lord Krishna in the shloka, it says those who don't do that, basically they are verily eating sin, because we forget that, gratitude to God or all the devatas who are bestowing grain, which is resulting in grain, and because of which that food is coming on our table. We simply think that somebody has prepared it and we just cater to our senses. That's not the right spirit. Now, after cooking the food, they place it on the altar and pray to God to accept their offering. If you look at your nani or dadi, like yesterday Kumarji was saying, they put a small portion of the food, for God, then you offer a prayer, and then some for the crows as well, for pitris also people do that, which is a good practice, and there is a reason for that. Some of the things that we have been following traditionally, they have a basis and a scriptural reference for that as well. So this is one of those practices. We should do that. We should always have a silent prayer to God, and there are various ways, like in their mind, some people, they meditate on the sentiment that God is actually eating from the plate. Now you can, when you close your eyes, you can have a quiet gratitude, or you can imagine, God is taking from your plate and you are sharing it with him, or you can imagine that God has accepted it and he has replenished it back, because roti is still there, rice is still there. So you can imagine God actually took it and then replenished it back. So there are multiple ways, whatever works for you. The point is to take your consciousness to God and express that gratitude, and then it becomes prasad. And when you have prasad, it can have a transformative impact on you. We spoke about, that once you offer it, the remnants of the plate, they are accepted as a prasad or a grace of God. Okay. And then when you do that, it's nectar like, it leads to illumination, purification, and spiritual advancement. Believe me, it works. We spoke about that case study where, Hare Krishna movement, when it was at the peak, people would stand on the traffic lights, and the energy bars which were offered to Krishna during the morning arti, they would distribute it around to people, whoever would come. And the people initially thought maybe they are doing it for the sake of money, but they didn't ask for anything. They said, just have it as a prasadam. And people, just by having it, they started getting transformed within a span of few months. Most of them, they ended up in temple and they became great devotees of Krishna after a while. So that is the power of prasad. Even if you go to temple for the sake of prasad, it's a good starting point. My journey started like that, okay, to a larger extent. The allurement of having free food. So go for prasads. It's better to crash a temple party as opposed to crashing a wedding party. I would say at least it will leave a lasting impact, lasting positive impact, right? So if you go for the sake of prasad only to temples, that is also a good starting point, because if it is offered as a bhog to Lord, just by eating it will start having a transformative effect. Right? Taisa an, vaisa man. So you will start losing craving for a lot of other things if you do that. So find a good langar near your house or a good prasad near your house and start going there. If your feet don't take you to temple, tell your mind, okay, I'm going to enjoy the good food there, okay, today, rather than going to that dhaba or that restaurant. Let's go to the temple and enjoy that food. Start doing that and see how it starts bringing about a change in your mind as well. That is the power of prasad. So it is said on a daily basis, we should have that practice of offering it to God, and then that will help in advancing our spiritual journey. Now, if you was thinking that the food is still there, God is not eating it, God is known as Bhavgrahi, not the Annagrahi. So the sentiment that you are offering, behind that, he eats that and relishes that. So when it was offered with love to him by Vidurani, although she got so mesmerized by seeing Krishna in front of him, that she forgot that she was supposed to feed him the banana. Instead, she started feeding him the banana peels, and Krishna kept on eating it, because she was offering it with love. Same thing happened during Ramayana also, when Shabari, she was tasting and giving it to Krishna. He didn't mind taking it. And when Vidur came and he reprimanded his wife, saying, "What are you feeding the Lord? You should have been feeding bananas." And he then offered the proper one. And Krishna said, the taste that I got from your wife's banana peels, that taste is not there in the actual banana or all the food that has been prepared here. So God is known as Bhavgrahi. So if you're offering it with a lot of sentiment, devotion, he accepts it. That is his rule. And even though if you're not able to accept, he has simplified this whole process, right? This is because we are going to eat, we offer it. And if we are not going to eat, say, I'm not hungry, so I've not prepared food, then what should I offer to God? Then God says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Offer me a leaf. If you don't have it, you can offer me a fruit. You can offer me, Patram Pushpam, a flower, leaf, or nothing than water itself. I'll accept it. The key is to offer it with love, and it becomes a prasad at that point. And when we do that, we are helping ourselves. Instead of catering to our senses, now we are building a consciousness that I am having a prasad, that remnant of God, and that will have a cleansing impact on our antakaran. So that is the key idea behind this concept. Let's move on. And some people go to the extent of even putting the clothes to God before wearing it. Okay, you can take it to any level, basically. I mean, there's no limit to what all you want to do, how to imbibe that consciousness. So they are offered to as sacrifice to God, and remnants of prasada nectar like blessing for the soul. Right. So out of your devotional sentiment in your idols during winters, I mean, we have started doing that practice. So, put some woolen things, right? That might be feeling cold. All of these are sentiments. It may seem foolish to people, but you're building sentiments and that connect for your own sake. It's not that God all of a sudden is going to feel cold and he will catch pneumonia, but it is a sentiment that you are harboring and building that. So, when you put nice thing during winters to God, it deepens your sentiment. It is helping you. And we have spoken about this principle in the past. One of the spiritual principles that when you harbor divine sentiments, even towards a material thing, you will get a divine result. And divine result comes in the form of purifying our own antakaran. Lakshmi, you had a question? Or you wanted to?
Yes, Radhe Radhe Lakshmi ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. My question is, like, we offer food to God and a bowl, whatever we could cook it. And my father used to offer milk with sugar in a small bowl, and he never asked us to take till the evening, expecting that God will take. And by the evening, but before bed, we used to throw it off because it gets spoiled. So is that right thing, or we should take after some time? Sorry for that question.
Would you take it yourself, or are you giving it just because you want to reject it? Is the question. What is the bhav behind it?
No, he says at any time, his leisure time, he'll take it. So don't keep it there till night.
Yeah, as a bhav matters actually, right? If it is something that you can partake as well, that is fine. But if the spirit behind it is anyway, it is going to get wasted, so why not offer it to God and earn some commission around it? Then the bhav is a little, So yeah,
He says,
some people
he
are
says,
Mhm.
he says at what time he takes it, we don't know. So let it be in the puja room only.
Okay,
So
that's
that is his
bhav
bhav.
matters.
So
Bhav matters. That is fine. Bhav is the key, right? The intention behind it is the key. There's an interesting story, I've forgotten that, about Shivling, where a hunter used to come and feed flesh to Lord Ram, and would give him bath through water because he couldn't carry it through his mouth. Now, if a devotee or a pandit looks at it, says, "What kind of puja this guy is doing, offering meat and spitting water on the Shivling?" But the bhav behind was to give food the best, what he could afford in that jungle or what he was used to. And then he was giving bath to Shivling. And since he could not carry water, he would carry in his mouth and give it. So God looks at the intention, not the actual act. Same thing. If you get too hung up in rituals, that doesn't take it. So the problem happens when we are too hung up on the rituals. It's the intention behind that activity that matters. So that is perfectly okay. But yeah, for God, basically, it's really the bhava, and the key is to have another basis to establish relationship with God for our own sake, so that we can purify, and it has a transformative effect on our consciousness, and we are less focused on our senses and more about God, and trying to imbibe that consciousness in all walks of life. Yes, Champaji, you wanted to add something?
Radhe Radhe, Champaji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Bhagavan says, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam. We should not take it literally, like, okay, he himself has said, I'll give him water every day. Or what we have to do is, whatever we eat, cook with lot of shraddha, that means bhakti, and offer it to him, and think that he has taken, actually he takes, and then eat the remnants of what he has eaten. But what we do is, whatever he teaches other things, we don't understand, but this one verse we understand. He himself has said, Patram Pushpam Palam Toya, okay, give him water every day. Radhe Radhe.
That's true. Basically, God is saying that if you can't even offer this, then offer this. Even if you can't offer this, he's basically saying it is very simplified. The bhav that you build is the key here. So depending upon yatha samarthya, they say for God, yatha samarthya. If you're yourself going to enjoy a porridge, why won't you offer it to God, right? It's only for people who can't afford that, who may have a time limitation, who may have a resource limitation, right? That's where he said, I'm fine, even if you do that. He's just giving us a basis for that. That doesn't mean you have to limit it to that. But of course, right? Devotees say, I will give the best of the best to my God, right? When gopis were preparing meal for Krishna, they did not limit it to these things, right? Because God anyway eats bhav, so let's limit it to that. So devotee wants to give the best of the best, yatha samarthya. But God says, never mind. If you can't do it, these four things also, if you offer me with love, I'm fine. But do start doing that, so that at least you're establishing a relationship there. And help me help you. The message throughout Bhagavad Gita is, he's telling all of these things, not that he's any less, or he's less complete, or he's hungry. He's just telling us how we can get out of this matrix and really march towards the goal that we have set out, and draw his grace around some of the tips and tools that he continues to give us liberally during the Bhagavad Gita, in our Vishnu. Yes, Dineshi, you wanted to add something as well?
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Can you hear? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I have a bad habit of while I'm cooking, I always check the food for its proper cooking and the taste. Is it okay to offer that kind of food to the God and then take it as a prasad?
See, I'm not getting too much into the semantics aspect of it, but I guess a lot of people do that, which is fine. God doesn't mind. He would, if you look at some of Krishna Leelas with his Gwal Bals, he would say, okay, show me what your mother has given. So Gopal, he'll put it in his mouth. He will take it from his mouth and take it back. I really want to taste the food there. So God doesn't mind that. He goes behind the devotion that you're putting in more than the actual act of it, right? There is no place which is impure to take God's name. There is nothing which becomes impure as long as your intention is pure, right? So God himself is so pure that just because we have tasted it is not going to make it any less, right? But if we are doing it because we want to enjoy it before God does, then I think we are catering to our senses. So those things, if we are taking care, we shouldn't think too much about it. Okay, we'll get back to, yes, Pallavi, you wanted to add something as well?
Yeah, there are a couple of messages, Nitinji,
Sure.
if I can read.
Sure.
Especially it is related to the bhav that we are talking about. Ashutosh ji has mentioned, bhav bhara kela ka chilka vidurani ghar khayo rasiya.
Yeah, that is a bhog arti. Bhav bara kele ka chilka vidurani ghar khayo rasiya.
Khayo rasiya.
Bhavheen duryodhan vyanjan nahi tuk bhayo rasiya. I think that is
Beautiful. Beautiful.
when it is without bhav, even if it is chappan bhog or 108 bhog, Krishna says never mind. But if it is full with bhav, he'll accept it gracefully and with a lot of relish as well. Okay, real quick,
Yes.
I wanted to add, I want to continue. We'll come back to this and then continue with our discussion. Let's cover the content. Rahul, you wanted to add real quick something?
Please go ahead, Rahul ji. Radhe Radhe.
I just wanted to add that Bhog Geet, which we have in this Sankirtan Madhuri, the JKO books, is super nice. You once read that, those sentiments will start coming, will start pouring in.
Yeah, very true. It is a very beautiful Bhogarti. It really covers it, how we should offer food to God and what are the sentiments we need to harbor when we do that. So very beautiful. Check it out if you have not already. Okay, so we'll come back to you. Please keep raising your hand. I'm sure you will not get tired because it is virtual hand raising. So we can get back to that. Let's continue with some of the things that we have to discuss and then get back to you. Now, the thing is, they install the deity in their house and then live with it with the attitude that their home is the temple of God. Right? That's another way of building that sentiment. In fact, if you think about it, even our body is a temple of God. If when we have that consciousness, we will not put any bad thing in it, whether it is in terms of eating, whether it's in terms of the thoughts that we are bringing in our antakaran, because if we are going to dirty it, we cannot keep it clean for God, right? It's like I'm going to welcome a VIP to my home and I'm dirtying it. Then we are going to go further away from God's grace. When Ram, he was in his exile, he asked, I think in the forest, he met Vishwamitra, I believe, sage Vashisht, or some, yeah, maybe I'm forgetting. He asked him, where should I go and live? Right? He was supposed to direct him to Panchavati because his Leela was going to unfold. So he said, God, the better question to ask would have been, first tell me, where do you not reside? Okay, but since you are still asking, it's part of your Leela, I will tell you, you go and live, near Panchavati. And then
Same Bharat, Sage Bharatwaj. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes, Bharatwaj. Okay, thank you.
That's what Sam ji mentioned, yeah.
Yeah, Samjis are walking encyclopedia these days. So thank you, Samji. One of these days, I will count the number of smileys in your garland that you wear every day. Okay. So thank you for correcting that. So yes, and then he goes on to add, he defines the criteria where all God should reside. And one of the things he said that nirmal, humble, all these nice adjectives a devotee should have. So you go and reside in that. So God is supposed to reside in Urpur, like Nurpur, Kanpur, Bilaspur in India. Pur is there, right? Like Louisville, Greensville in US. He said you reside in Urpur. So for God to reside in Urpur, the Ur has to be really clean. It has to be saf. The day it is saf, God is anyway there. He will reveal himself. So as a means to reach that stage, we should look at different simulations around us. Okay, these practices that are done, they are for a good reason, right? We look at when before having food, we take it as a remnant for God. In our home, we establish a place and treat it as a temple of God. So wherever you can, whatever means you can take mind to God, that will help in solidifying this practice. Okay. So deities installation is another thing, right, where they do that, and that leads us to imbibing that consciousness. Now in Bhagavatam, it says, I'm not going to recite this shloka. It says, I will only eat, smell, wear, live in, and talk about objects that have first been offered to you. In this way, by accepting the remnants as your prasad, I will easily conquer Maya. That is directly from Bhagavatam. So it's not limited to eat, smell, wear, live in, talk about. So you're engaging all of your senses. And then mind also you can engage, right? Karam Yoga is all about engaging your mind in God. So everything is actually God. See, it's like, remember that spider thing again. We spoke about the Kathopanishad thing, spider, weaving a web and then taking it all back. Every basis of this entire world, this world itself is a veritable form of God. So there's no reason for us to insert ourselves in between as an enjoyer. Right? We talk about being situated in truth. What is truth? Simply realizing what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrit had said, that Jive Swarup Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. If you understand that part, that you are eternal servant of God, you are situated in truth, otherwise it's a lie. Can a Jnani reach that truth? No. Can an Ashtanga Yogi reach that truth? No. Only a Bhakt or a devotee can reach that truth, because you are doing seva with a consciousness that I am a Nitya Das of God. Until you reach that stage in whatever spiritual practice you are doing, you have not reached the truth. Truth is knowing things as they are. And humility is accepting things as they are. Humility we think of as a big virtue. If you think of it, there's no reason for us to be anything other than humble. Absolutely, there's no reason for us to have pride. The very basis of our life, anything and everything that we end up achieving or end up doing, good things, credible things, things that we get accolades for from the world, the basis for that is God. Inspiration is energized by God. Ability is given by God. Even the drop of prarabdha that he has picked up, if we are having a good time in this life, is given by God. So humility is simply accepting who we are. So we consider it as a virtue because of our mind. It has gotten programmed to such an other extreme that in order to restore it back to its original thing, it takes a lot of effort. And that's why I said, wow, so humble. I mean, there is no reason for us not to be humble, actually, if you look at it. All right, so continue to move on. Everything can actually be directed towards God, not just food. Okay, so let's understand that. Remnants, when we say everything, even mind also can be, that is the Karam Yoga. We have spoken about that topic in detail, and pretty much everything. Now, do you want, let's understand, to grow like a fern or a bamboo? That was a question I was posing, right? So I'll tie it back to the spirit of sacrifice that we do. Anybody who wants to take that, or maybe you've heard about it, so I would love to hear from you. Which one would you like to be grow, like a fern or a bamboo, or why and why? And Rupaji and Manishi have already raised their hand.
Rupaji, Radhe Radhe.
I have tricked you into answering this question.
Radhe Radhe everyone. Actually, my question was a bit connected to my sisters, like how my daddy used to put the bowl of a little milk with sugar. He used to say, if it is milk with sugar, it is like the parvanam. Daily we cook it for him. My mother also believed the same thing. But how my sister had a doubt of if we leave that for the day, and if it is getting spoiled. Sometimes we, as kids, we used to feel, even still we have a doubt, if it gets wasted, which is offered to God, is this correct? Or else, if we offer it and after few minutes, we have it as a prasad, which is the correct one?
I think if you can have it as a prasad, that means it was portable. That means it was not spoiled. So would you take that chance with something that you would drink? I mean, I don't know. I don't have an answer, to be honest. Okay, maybe somebody can bail you out on this one. Maybe you can ask me, but I would treat it like this. If I'm keeping it, is it something I would do if I were to drink it? I don't know. Right. So
that's what, like, always we have that doubt to me and my sister, because always we used to follow our parents, definitely. From childhood, we both are like doing puja daily and offering something to the God. But if always we get it out, why you wasted that? He says that like Bhagwan will take it anytime.
Yeah,
but sometimes.
Please finish your thought.
No, that's what. If we take it, is it right? If we leave it, that is right.
I don't know. Maybe that would be a good question in SMX, but I would ask one more question along with it. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
To be honest, if you ask me personally, I would probably do think that I would feel safe with. It's not that God will get poisoned or he will get sick, God. But then
Yeah.
am I going to say that, okay, God, I have done my job. Now you do whatever you want to do with it. Okay. I don't know. I mean, but the sentiments could be okay. I don't want to disturb God. Maybe right now he's not feeling hungry. There are a lot of people who would have offered stuff to him. So I would let him choose the appropriate time for it. Really boils down to your intention. So we really can't question that for anybody, right? So
Yeah,
let's
I
not get
mean, we used to say it to
fearful.
dad directly, like you're wasting it. When you're offering you, why can't you take it as prasad? Like my sister said, like he will
You
take
do.
it in whatever time.
You do what appeals to your sensibility, but we should not overanalyze these things. Leave it, because devotion is a personal matter for everyone, right? Something that may
Yeah,
not
that's
appeal
true.
to your sensibility, maybe somebody's emotion is completely different. I spoke about a hunter, right, who would offer flesh and spit on shivling. Now if a pandit sees that,
Yeah,
he would say how outrageous it is. So we really don't know. It's a very private matter. So let people do what they want to do, and you focus on your devotion. How do you want to build a connect with God? But if you're going to spend
that
rest
is
of
the
your
thing.
life worrying about this
We were
question, then
trying.
it's not going to help anybody.
We
So
were just trying to know what is the exact truth or which one to follow. That's it.
no rule basically in Raganuga Bhakti. There is no rule. In what you call that Vaidi Bhakti, there are do's and don'ts. Okay, you need to
Okay.
wake up, do this thing, certain things, take bath, and then do this. Eat food with this consciousness, self-prepared conscious. Too many rules are there. In Karam Kand, there are do's and don'ts. In Raganuga Bhakti, there are only two rules. One vidhi and one
Okay.
nishedh. Rule is vidhi, nishedh is don't. Do is love God, love and serve God. Don't is don't do anything which takes you away from God. Only two rules. So if you can simplify this whole thing for yourself, because if we start getting into the rules and karam kand, and it can be a wild goose chase, right? Our mind is not able to comprehend so many things. So just go with two rules. Anything that takes your mind to God with devotion, that is a good thing. Anything that takes it away from God and does not result in love for God, reject it without any fear. That's it. Simplify your life.
Maybe thinking that both are bhav-purnit, like my dad's also, maybe ours also. As you said, bhav is important that we are offering to him.
Yes.
Maybe thinking that we will move forward like this only.
Don't worry too much about it. I think you made this question more important than it needs to be. So let him do his
No, no.
devotion. You focus
Just
on
we
it.
had a doubt. See, my dad, if my dad was there, I would have asked him.
Sure.
But I don't know. So I thought when we got an opportunity to ask you, if you know it, it's well and good. Otherwise, how you said we have to continue as with Bhav, we will continue.
With bhav is the most, and you can ask this to Swamiji maybe on one of the sessions or if you get an opportunity. But like I said, my limited understanding says that in Raganuga Bhakti, there are only two rules we follow, and we simplify this whole process. Love for God and developing devotion for God. Anything that helps to do that is good. Anything that is not helping you to do that is not good. Very simple. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rupaji. Getting back to the question or anything else, Manishi, you wanted to add?
Radhe Radhe Manishji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So I heard this Swamiji say, that God is only looking for love and your bhav intention, like you said. And then Swamiji says, bhav ka bhuka hu main aur bhav hi bas saar hai. Bhav se mujhko baje to bab se beda paar hai. Bhav bin suni pukare main kabhi sunta nahi. Bhav ki ek teer bhi karti mujhe laachar hai. So he sings that beautiful, and he mentions that that's all God cares about is your intention and your love for him. He doesn't look at anything else.
Very, very true. That is true.
And then to answer your question, I would choose to be a bamboo, because bamboo, again, Swamiji explained that it takes a long time to grow. It doesn't sprout for 5 years, I think he said, but because it's building its roots. So I want to be able to keep my spiritual, grow my spiritual roots so much that no matter what happens, I don't fall off. So,
Beautiful.
thank you.
Thank you so much, Manishji. Yes, Rahul, you wanted to add as well. Very nice point around bhav. And yes, the bamboo aspect as well. I wanted to cover that because it's an important concept on the path of spirituality that we need to really think about, and how we can derive inspiration from it as well. Yes, Rahul, you wanted to add something?
Radhe,
Please
Radhe.
go ahead.
Yes, I agree with Manishji. The foundation has to be rock solid. And once we get that correct tattva gyan, and here also in this bamboo, it is trying to deepen its roots and then become taller. Yeah. So I would also like to become a bamboo. Yeah. So thank you.
True. Very nice. Good point, Rahul. Kumarji, you had an alternate opinion about this thing. Manoranjan ji will definitely have an
Radhe Radhe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Manoranjan ji, we can have some Kabir Loha, but on when we give when we pray to God, the food that we keep, again, as Nitinji, you very nicely explained, it's the bhav which matters. When I went to India, fruits were not that easily available, or at least it took some effort to do that. So what I would do is have this fruit and nut bars and protein bars that I used to have, as to use that. And then, uh, my mom, I don't know, my mom or my sister-in-law used to ask, why don't you just use the tap water? But I used to use the, Aquafina water to keep for God as well, because, hey, if I'm getting that, God should get that as well. That was my bow there. Normally, what I do here in the US is use fruits and almonds, which, of course, in India, they never used to use it. So they used to use milk. Again, it does not matter. Like if you want to pray with just thoughts, you can pray as well, as Swamiji has said. That's what meditation is all about. And we are trying to, implement this for each moment in the day in our lives, right? So that's the end point. But this is how we start. Anything is fine. You don't need to copy other people. Just ask yourself what your conscience says. Just follow that, right?
Yes.
Though a small addendum I have is that if you're using some kind of yantra, tantra, or something like that, right? Again, I don't know about these things, but if there is some specific thing, those pujas have to be done in certain way. Best is to avoid doing that. But if you do that, do it properly. But otherwise, God will accept whatever it is, right? But then what we give, obviously, I wouldn't like to give a rotten. See, that's why even in India, if there is a small, or even here, if the fruit is a little rotted in a small place, I would never keep it. That's again my bow, right? Some people might still do that, but that's fine. And on the fern versus bamboo, I like looking at fern. So I like fern a lot. But obviously, all that we need to do in this world is be strong like the bamboo. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Great point. Thank you, Kumarji. Yes. For God, we need to put things or offer Him things that we would do for ourselves, right? It's not like, okay, God, whatever doesn't matter, so you go with that. Beautiful point. By the way, bamboo is a grass, it's not a tree, okay? That was something when I heard it for the first time, it was kind of interesting. Okay, so getting back to that question, okay, a couple of hands are raised. Let's take them and we'll go with this topic. This is a very important thing. Too many learnings out of it, okay, that we'll talk about, and we'll tie back to sacrifice as well. So, Namaskaram, Manoranjan ji, please.
Yes, Manoranjan ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe, Namaskaram. Am I audible?
Very much.
Yeah. So straightway to the Pandora box of Sant Kabir. Sant Kabir has an interesting doha on bhav. He says that sadhu bhuka bhav ka धन का भूखा नाही जो है धन का भूखा वो तो साधु नाही. So here actually Kabir gives a very interesting definition of a sadhu. Who is actually sadhu? The person who is actually hungry for bhav is known as a sadhu. He is not hungry for wealth. He is not hungry for material activity, material pleasures. So therefore, we as a devotee of the Almighty, we as a person who are in the journey to find the eternal truth, should always imbibe the culture of sadhu within ourselves. So the bhava and bhakti, whatever we have, we should inculcate it, cultivate it within ourselves, and keep on growing it.
Yes.
This is one aspect. So then there was a question actually that we offer many things. We offer dravya to the Lord. Now the question is that why not to use those things, consume those things instead of offering, because that is a waste. Is it like that?
Yes, yes. I said, yeah. Please go ahead. Let's finish off your thought quickly so that we can move on.
Yes. Actually, see, in our Sanatan culture, we do many things as a representation, that is Pratikatmak. So let us try to understand. We are limited understanding that we are understanding that we are wasting something. Okay, because we have a concept that energy is neither wasted nor created. It's just transformed from one place to another. It's simple physics. So similarly, food is also energy. Okay, it is never wasted. Okay, we should understand that when we are offering something as a representation, so it is being distributed to many other creatures, right? Not only to human beings, because the human beings are not only the consumers of this world. There are many other consumers like Savar and Jangams.
Yes, yes.
So by offering this, actually our traditions have made them that we also take care of other things rather than human beings. So let us understand in a holistic view, and we should understand whatever we are doing. We should not blindly follow. That is accepted. But again, we should not analyze it in our limited understanding. Let us increase our understanding. Thank you.
Fair point. Thank you, Manoranjan ji. Great point. We have to look at it holistically and its entirety. Thank you. Let's move on to.
Yeah, can we please take Pragya ji?
And Samji has 30. Okay, somebody can count it as well. 30 smileys around her neck. So yes, Pragya ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Pragya ji.
Radhe Radhe Nitin, Pallavi ji and everyone. A beautiful session on Bhav. So going by Maharajji's lecture or Swamiji's examples, Maharajji says like, Bhagwan ko to na hamara khana chahiye, na paisa chahiye, kuch nahi chahiye. So all these things becomes a medium to express our bhav. And Maharajji says, kuch nahi hai to pani chढ़ा दो, बेल पत्र चढ़ा दो, तुलसी चढ़ा दो, या मन से वो पूरा रूप ध्यान में बना लो जो हम चढ़ाना चाहते हैं, 56 भोग. So as like we and Ramayan, Sabri तो अपने जूठे बेर खिलाकर राम जी का वेलकम कर रही थी, and Vidurani like छिलका खिला रही है केला का. So and God is eating because he's seeing the bhav behind it and not actually what is being offered. And there was also this very beautiful example from Swamiji's lecture I'd heard long back, where a very poor person had forgone 1 lakh rupees for watermelon, and that he wanted to offer the first fruit of the season to Jagannath, in the Jagannath temple, where someone wanted to buy for his beloved or wife that watermelon, and the bargaining went on till 1 lakh rupees. And then he says that, no, I don't want to sell it. I want to offer this, the first fruit of the season, to the Lord. And even in India, we have this practice. I have seen that in the chota puja that we have, even the kheera and the muskmelon and watermelon is first offered to God. I don't remember those pujas, yeah, but I remember it happening at home. Yeah, that's what I wanted to share. Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Pragya ji. See, this when we start deepening our relationship with God, these things are a natural consequence of it. You want to do the best of somebody whom you love. Right? I know about a guy who was a devotee. He would even take the Laddu Gopal along with him, and even while traveling in flight, he would book another ticket for him. That Krishna is sitting with me. I need to book another ticket for him. He deserves a seat of his own. So bhav is something that can be taken to any level. And in fact, Maharajji says that even when we are doing our sadhana, we make a bhav day. We do it through bhav day. And that is an upgrade we will anyway get, right, when we start progressing on this part. So bhav is a very, very bhav. The definition of bhav Swamiji gave was decorating your devotion or your sentiment. and there's no limit to it actually, and it is something that needs to be nurtured and protected as well. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would watch the Jagannath Murti from a distance, and his temperature of his body would go so high just looking at it from a distance that it is said that there are imprints of his fingers even today in the temple where his fingers would touch. That much intensity he would feel in his body. And why wouldn't he go closer to that deity of Jagannath? So that his bhav, if he looks very closely to Jagannath's face, and if he finds some truti or mistake, his bhav may get, distorted. So just to avoid that, he would just watch it from a distance. So devotees, they take a very due diligence, they exercise a lot of diligence in cultivating, nurturing, and enhancing their bhavs. Bhav is a very important thing in the path of devotion. Right? And yeah. All right. Beautiful point, Pragyaji. Like always, you do. Lakshmi ji, then we can get back to bamboo and fern. Everybody has conveniently neglected it. So I'll get you back on that topic. Okay. Yes. Okay.
Nitin, there are some interesting comments. If I can.
By the way, people are coming back saying 32 and 36. Okay. So I would agree. I think it's somewhere in
But
between.
Sam ji has mentioned 35 is the right one.
Okay. So maybe you didn't count yourself smiling. Okay. We are including you as well.
And one more quick interesting comment is here. Samji has mentioned Golok runs. So Golok runs fully on sentiments. This is her question.
Golok runs fully on sentiments. No, Golok runs on real things. Sentiments are there. Sentiments and bhav are an integral part of devotion that you keep on decorating even after your God realizes. There's no limit to that. But Golok runs on sentiments. I don't know what you're trying to imply. Golok, basically, sentiments, yes, they are integral part of devotion. That much I can tell you. Now, what does it run on? It runs on Krishna, basically. The Surya, Chandra, everything else is Krishnamai there.
One more quick question is there, Nitinji. Where can we, Sri Ramya ji has asked, where can we get the book Sankirtan Madhuri? Is it available online?
Yeah, Sankirtan Madhuri.
So, yeah.
I think it should be in the JK Yoga online store. You should be find that. But I'll encourage you if you want to go through bhajans. Prem Ras Madhira is a great one. Sankirtan Madhuri, Sankirtan Sudha. Get those books. Just read through those. Load of Tattva Gyan and load of devotion, right? And you can start singing as well. If you start listening, there's no better way to engage in Roop Dhyan. If you simply listen to them and just imagine them, it will take a bit of a tuning, but you can read through the English translation and start visualizing on that. It's beautiful. They are live Leelas. And Maharaj Ji has actually gotten inside the head of gopis and put those sentiments into words, which is a very very high level state, right? Gopis are the role model in the path of devotion, and what is going on inside their head, the sentiments that they are harboring when they are having Virah Madhuri, during Leela Madhuri, all that stuff is actually penned down in Prem Ras Madhira and some of these kirtans. It's pretty profound, and so go check it out and start engaging yourself in that. It's a wonderful way to deepen your devotion towards God.
Yeah,
okay,
thanks.
Shri Ram ji, I think I saw you had raised his hand. Sai Ram ji or somebody, you can please unmute yourself and
yes, Sai Ram
love to
ji.
hear from you. I think you raised your hand. Sai Ram ji, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sai Ram ji, yeah.
Trying to unmute myself.
Yes, please.
Please go ahead, Radhe Radhe.
So I had a question on this fern versus bamboo. First, I thought, why not be bamboo? Because bamboo keeps on growing higher and higher all the way up to the sky. So you may want to elevate your consciousness and mind all the way until it's one with God, like how Swami Vivekananda said. But then I began to maybe overanalyze. What difference does it make if fern also has Lord Bhagavan Krishna in it and bamboo also has? What difference will it make? If both have the intellect and mind to do sadhana, I think it won't matter whether you're fern or bamboo.
It's a little open-ended. I have kept it here. Let me add a bit of a context to it, and then I think you'll be able to appreciate what we are trying to discuss here. So yeah, it's a bit open-ended. because I have not set the context for it, right? Now the fern, if you look at it here, it takes about 5 to 6 months to come up and sprout, right? Bamboo, if you plant a bamboo seed, you will see no action whatsoever. Okay, and you will wonder if anything is happening at all or not. Okay, so not for 5 6 months. You take another full year, nothing will happen. 2 years, nothing will happen. 3 4 5, then it will start, coming, and then within 6 months it will grow to 100 feet within 6 months. What was happening all these 5 years? It was deepening its roots so that it can support that 100 feet majestic grass that is going to come out of it. Similarly, on the path of spirituality, there are no shortcuts where you think I should see results just like that, like we are used for instant gratification. Now, if you have acquired a lot of, karma through your past janmas, yes, even in the duration of those 6 months, you could always already be a bamboo at the 5th year stage, right? Then it is a different thing. But typically, every practice that you are doing, every little bit that you are adding, right? Whether it's in terms of doing satsang, attending to lessons, listening to a video, doing a seva, any sacrifice or the yajna, the practice, it's all adding up and it is helping you expand your roots. Now, when it will start sprouting, it becomes unstoppable at that point, right? When you start reaching the stages of advanced bhakti and bhav bhakti, that's when you start growing like bamboo. So a devotee is always hopeful. They understand everything is adding up. You may think, hey, nothing is happening, I'm doing that. No, you don't know, the change is happening. Those roots are getting deepened. And the day you start sprouting, it will be unstoppable at that time. Okay. I'll give you one more example around this. There's a building in Calgary Bow building. It's a pretty majestic building. Majority of effort, if you look at it, 2,500 tons of reinforcing steel and 15,000 tie wire, 2 months is put in its foundation. So when you have to support something which is worthy of reaching the sky, you have to have very strong foundation. So devotion is like that, and each sacrifice, each yajna, each one of these practice that we are talking about from shlokas, right, is going to contribute towards deepening and solidifying and strengthening those roots that we are talking about. Okay, that is why it is important, and you do it through, the determination, grit, perseverance, all those good adjectives that you need on this path, rather than going for short-term gains and then thinking if that doesn't happen, I'm not progressing or nothing worthwhile is happening. So that is the key around this part. Any questions on that so far? And then what do we need to get started? Are we going to get a perfect knowledge and then only we start? It's not going to happen, right? So what do we need actually? It's just like this example I'll give you. What do we need actually, from the key points? Before I get into the key points, let's look at it to get started on this journey. So if you look at it, if somebody has to kill himself, they only need a pin. And if we have to kill somebody else, we need a sword. Similarly, all the gyan is thrown our way, that something sticks. But for us to progress, this much of knowledge is good enough once we have established devotion and faith around it. We don't need tons and tons of it if we are sincere about making a progress in our path, right? It's like you just need a pin to kill yourself. For others, we need sword. Yes, to convince others, you may need tons and tons of knowledge from different angles, like Swamiji does, right? For us and Maharajji does. But for yourself, once something has clicked, one piece of knowledge is good enough for you to cross over Maya, or at least get started on this path. Doesn't take long. So let me do a quick recap of, maybe I can do that a little bit tomorrow. It's a very important thing. I didn't want to rush through that. Any questions on that? Maybe key points I'm going to take up tomorrow a little bit. Any questions on that? Because we are nearing the time as well. So spirit of sacrifice, let me just do that. Spirit of sacrifice is critical to spiritual growth. The first key point. Sacrifice can take many forms where you are going to against the natural propensity of your mind to derive pleasure through material things, objects, and relations. Right? We spoke about this concept. Those who do not perform sacrifice remain entangled in the fruitive actions of work, continue to experience the torments of Maya. We spoke about this concept as well. If you don't do sacrifice, what happens? Inculcating the spirit of sacrifice is a journey to train our self-seeking mind. It's not a unit step function. Okay, like surrender, it's not something you say, okay, now I've become, it's a journey in itself. And we have to start taking the baby steps around that because it's training your mind. And more importantly, each small step counts. Every effort that you're putting in there will not go waste. And most importantly, seva has meva, and the best means to progress spiritually and increase our spirit of sacrifice. So seva has meva. Take down this word. That is the way to progress really fast on this path, because it's a sacrifice, first of all, that you're doing. You can't do seva unless you are devoting your time. Time is not only money, but life. Time, you're devoting your time, you're devoting your body, you're devoting your mind. So you're already into sacrifice. And then you are diverting it towards God. It is something more than your own self. The entire life we spend taking care of our own needs, our own senses, our own things that appeal to us, right? This is mine, that is mine. And seva is about starting to learn, to unlearn that part and start doing it for a bigger purpose. Start becoming an employee of Krishna, directly or indirectly. So seva has meva, that is the real deal. Finally, we are Nityadas, we have to serve God. So the sooner we start building those sanskars, the better off we will be. And that is the fastest, surest, smartest way to progress spiritually. Without seva, we can take few turns here, there, and all that stuff. That spirit of sacrifice will not be ignited, but that spark will remain a spark only. So it's important to get involved, even if it's a small seva, and you will realize it. Reject it if you don't realize anything out of it. Simply reject it. That option is always there, right? But if you start realizing it, you will understand how important it becomes on this path. All right. So any questions on that? We are on time, I know. And then we will do a little bit of Sankirtan also that we have added. Let's make this quick announcements, Pallaviji, and then we will take any questions that anybody has, and before we move on further.
Yes, thank you, Nitinji. First of all, I've shared the link for feedback tracker. Please post your feedback, comments, questions in the feedback tracker. And also, there are a couple of announcements. I'll just go ahead and read it out. Definitely, the first highlight is Janmashtami Mahotsav, which is coming from, August 6th through 21st. It is being celebrated, but grand celebration is between 18th to 21st August. And the details link has been shared in the chat window. Please take a look at it. The second program is about the life transformation program with Swamiji, and that is going to be from August 20 to 21st. That is in person only at Dallas. I believe so. It is in person right now. I don't think it is online. For more information, the link has been posted in the chat. The next information is about the Dallas retreat. It is going to be from September 3rd through September 5th, and that is going to be in Texas. Please register for the retreat. I have posted all the links here. Please do take advantage of all the wonderful events and immerse yourself in divine celebrations.
Thank you, Pallaviji. And sorry, I forgot. Yeah, please.
Sorry about that, Nitinji. Someone mentioned that one link that I have shared is not working. So I'll find the correct link about the life transformation, and then I'm going to post it shortly. Yeah.
Yes. Also, we will have special sessions during the Janmashtami week. So I'm looking forward to your enthusiastic participation around that. Bhajans, Krishna Leelas, and Tattva Gyan. We will all bring it under all at one place during these sessions. So they're going to be exciting sessions for those 3 days. If you have not already signed up, do sign up for that. Start preparing for it. They are going to be pretty immersive sessions, so do check it out as well. All right. Any questions around that? Seva is Meva or anything that we spoke about today? See, the good thing, if you can remember, is that every step that you are doing, it is counting. So don't think that if you're not seeing results right now, it is all getting frittered away. No. Krishna preserves every little progress that we make on this path. So whatever little sacrifice that we are doing with regards to our time, body, thought, everything will add up. And one day it will be like it will start sprouting like that bamboo grass. And sky is the limit after that. All right. Yes, Sri Ramya. Are you
Radhe Radhe, Sri Ramya ji, please go ahead.
Already?
Radhe Radhe. I didn't have questions, but I raised my hand for Kirtan.
Okay. All right. If no questions, then I think we are ready for our chanting time and we can spend a little bit of time. Let's do Harinam Sankirtan. And that's a good way to end our sessions. So I'm enjoying this new practice.
Yeah, I wish Payal ji started. If she's not there, then I'll start.
No, she has to sing. I mean, it's not that she has an option. I mean, it has to be part of it always. So, Payal, if you could please come over and then let's get started. आप भी गाइए आज. Okay, Swami. Yes, Shirama, you can get started. We'll request Payal ji to come as well. Maybe she's preparing right now, so we'll give us a little bit of time. I'll also recite a couple of lines. All right, today I'll try to.
Okay. This is Radharani ji's Kirtan. Excuse me for my voice. Rani ki jai, Maha Rani ki jai, Radha Rani ki jai, Maha Rani ki jai. Bolo बरसाने वाली की जय जय जय. बोलो बरसाने वाली की जय जय जय. श्यामा प्यारी की जय, ठाकुर रानी की जय. श्यामा प्यारी की जय, ठाकुर रानी की जय. बोलो भानु दुलारी की जय जय जय. बोलो भानु दुलारी की जय जय जय. राधा रानी की जय, महा रानी की जय. राधा रानी की जय, महा रानी की जय. राधे राधे राधे, जय 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 श्री राधे. 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 Thank you.
Thank you, Shirama ji. Very nice. You started picking up bhajans as well. It's a beautiful bhajan, I know. Radhe Rani ki jai, Maharani ki jai. Right? That was beautiful. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more hands are there. So let's quickly do that. Yes, Ashutosh ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
Actually, Ramya ji asked about Sankirtan Madhuri. So I said, means RG Dham ORG, which is run from Banara only. I think she can get from that side. If there is not available, she can check GKP literature also. Some site is there. She can get all the Prem Ras Mandira, every book of Maharaj ji, she can get from there.
Yes, Shirama, I'll be able to send you the links for that. Okay. Shouldn't be a problem. All right, Ashutosh, are you singing as well?
I'll try to sing.
Real quick, yeah.
श्याम सुंदर हमारो यार, लखन को दिया लड़के. श्याम सुंदर हमारो यार, लखन को दिया लड़के. जिनके सिर मोर मुकुट राजे, गोरोचन तिलक भाल भ्राजे. लटकारी घनी घुंघराल, लखन को दिया ललके. श्याम सुंदर हमारो यार, लखन को दिया ललके. जिनके कानन कुंडल हलके, नैनन बिच प्रेम सुधा छलके. नाक बेसर नाग बेसर सुघर छबिदार, लखन को जिया लल के। श्याम सुंदर हमारो यार, लखन को जिया लल के। Thank you.
Thank you, Ashutosh ji. Beautiful bhajan. Thank you. All right, Rahul is ready as well. I think we may have to capture interest a day prior now. So a lot of enthusiasts are coming forward, which is very nice. So we may have to capture interest prior day. That way, incentivize you to fill out the feedback tracker as well. So yeah, let's quickly do that.
Radhe Radhe, I wanted to sing the Bhog Geet. It has 9 lines, so maybe I can sing 4 lines today and 5 tomorrow. Yeah, so that, and I can do the English translation so that we can understand.
Sure.
अब ना और तरसाओ रसिया, आओ आओ भोग लगाओ रसिया। अब ना और तरसाओ रसिया, आओ आओ भोग लगाओ रसिया। यद्यपि यह सच है नहीं तुम कह, यद्यपि यह सच है नहीं तुम कह, भूख प्यास लागत रसिया। आओ आओ भोग लगाओ रसिया। तदपि भाव वश ब्रज छचिया लगी, चोरी करत फिर्यो रसिया। चोरी करत फिर्यो रसिया। भावहीन दुर्योधन व्यंजन, नहीं टुक मन भायो रसिया। भाव भरा केले का छिलका, विदुरानी खर खायो रसिया। अब ना और तरसाओ रसिया, आओ आओ भोग लगाओ रसिया।
Very nice, Rahul. Thank you very much. I'm sure a lot of people would have done their dinner, or might have offered it if they have not. So that was really very nice. Thank you so much. Okay, real quick, Manishi, you wanted to sing as well?
Radhe Radhe, Manishi. Yeah, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. I actually had a question, but I'll sing too. The question was on the activity tracker. Is that online or is that for in person?
Online.
Oh, online. Okay.
Online.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Yeah. So I'll do a little stuti because when Arjun asked for the wish for Virat group, Krishna Bhagwan, he got frightened. Then he went to ask for the Chaturbhuj group. So today is Thursday. It's Narayan's day for Krishna's form. So I'm going to do a stuti. Om Shantakaram Bhujagashainam Padmanabham Suresham Visvadharam Gaganashadrusham Meghavarnam Subhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalanayanam Yogabhir Dhyanagamyam Vande Vishnu Bhavayaharam Sarvalokekanatham Sarvalokekanatham. And then the short bhajan has become one of my favorite. I only know a few lines, but Albelo hamaro yaar prem ke bandhan mein, Albelo hamaro yaar prem ke bandhan mein, nahi jagat jogin je.
नहीं
Yeah.
जात
Yeah.
समाधिन जोगिन
दिन जय
नाचत
thai ब्रज नारन की राधे ब्रज नारन की तारन की तार प्रेम के बंधन में अलबेलो हमारो यार प्रेम के बंधन में. Thank you, Radhe Radhe. Sorry, when I get nervous, I forget. So, thank you.
You went from Aishwarya Bhav to Madhurya Bhav immediately, which was very nice. Good transition because Shanta Karam Bhujang, it's like, oh God, you're Aishwarya, right? He's freaking out, and all of a sudden you switched gears and said, okay, Albelo Hamaro Yar, which was very nice transition. So thank you so much, Manishi, for that. Okay, let's quickly take the hands as well. If we can limit it to 1 to 2 minutes, that way we can cover everyone.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe Nitinji. Today I plan to sing as well.
Pallavi, please go ahead.
It's a bhajan, bhavpun bhajan. द्वार खोल दो छुप न मोहन दर्शन करने आया हूँ द्वार खोल दो छुप न मोहन दर्शन करने आया हूँ पूजा का सामान नहीं कुछ प्रेम पुष्प दो लाया हूँ द्वार खोल दो छुप न मोहन दर्शन करने आया हूँ मन मेरा चंचल अति भारी नाच अनेक नचाता है सत्कर्मों से मुझे हटा पापों की ओर लगाता है समझाने से नहीं मानता ठीक कराने आया हूँ द्वार खोल दो छुप न मोहन दर्शन करने आया हूँ
Beautiful, Pallavi ji. You sing so well. We
It's
look
just
forward to
God's bhajan, Sri Krishna's bhajans. I'll complete the next pad at some other day.
Sure. Wonderful. Very nice. I see few more hands and then I'll sing as well today, a few
Yes.
lines. So,
Sumesh ji, Radhe Radhe, please go.
Radhe Radhe Somesh.
Radhe Radhe Nitin. I will want to sing 2 lines from Sankirtan.
Yes, please.
Oh, Rasiya Kasa Surati Visari Ho Rasiya Kasa Surati Visari लोक वेद कुल कानी आनी सब तजी आई पिया शरण तिहारी तजी आई पिया शरण तिहारी मग जो हत अखिया पथराई मग जो हत अखिया पथराई हारी हेरी बिपिन बनवारी हारी हेरी बिपिन बनवारी हो रसिया कस सुरती विसारी राधे राधे नितिन जी राधे राधे टू एवरीवन थैंक यू
Thank you, Sumeshji. Wonderful reciting. Yeah. Mrinalji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Pallaviji, Radhe Radhe Nitinji. I'll sing two lines, maybe 2-3 lines from the Prem Ras Madira. जादू भरी मुस्कान कान की, जादू भरी मुस्कान, जादू भरी मुस्कान कान की, जादू भरी मुस्कान, जिन नहीं देखी बिसरी गई छिन, जिन देखी तिन बिसरी गई छिन, लोक वेद कुल कान, लोक वेद कुल कान कान की, जादू भरी मुस्कान, जादू भरी मुस्कान कान की, जादू भरी मुस्कान, जिन नहीं देखी तिन देखन कहा, जिन नहीं देखी तिन देखन कहा, तेरत मुरली तान, तेरत मुरली तान काल की, जादू भरी मुस्कान, जादू भरी मुस्कान कान की, जादू भरी मुस्कान. Radhe Radhe. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful singing, Mrinalji.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
All right. We have Payalji.
Yeah,
We'll
Radhe Radhe.
save the best for the last. Okay, Payalji. So hang tight. Yes, Jonji, you wanted to sing as well, real quick?
Yes.
You can
Yeah, Radhe Radhe, Jonji. Please
Radhe
go
Radhe.
ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
I would request participants to fill in your interest in the tracker. That way we can pick up your name and it gives you an opportunity to be prepared as well. That will really help. So thank you. Please go ahead, Jonji.
Okay, so I was listening to the show on my way home from Mandir tonight, and I was going to make a comment actually on the tasting of the food before offering as prasad, but I'll leave that alone, and I'll just sing a verse that I sang at our Mandir tonight. So I'll give it a shot. That's what I sung tonight. Okay.
Sure, yeah. 2 lines, yeah.
Mekanandasa, make chotasa bachaho, तुम हो बड़े बलवान, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो, मेक नंदा सा, मेक छोटा सा बच्चा हो, तुम हो बड़े बलवान, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो, मेक नंदा सा. मैंने सुना है तुम्हें यहाँ पे लाखों के दुख तारे, मेरा दुख भी ताला सजन, चक्र सन दर्शन वाले. मैंने सुना है तुम्हें यहाँ पे लाखों के दुख तारे, मेरा दुख भी ताला सुजन, चक्र सुन दर्शन वाले. मेघ नन्हा सा, मेघ छोटा सा बच्चा हो, मुझ भी डरो कुछ ध्यान, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो, मेघ नन्हा सा. I can quickly give the meaning. Just 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm
Yes, please go ahead.
Awesome.
Very powerful and strong, O Lord. Please protect me, O protector of all. for you are my champion and protector. I have heard that you have taken away the sufferings of millions. So now, Lord, I implore you to take away my pains, even if you have to use your chakra and sudarshan. For I too am your child, and thou art the destroyer of sins. I am already feeling reassured as I meditate just a little on thee. That's just one verse. Thank you for the opportunity. Radhe Radhe.
Beautiful, Joji. Thank you so much. And I can make out Hindi is not your first language. And I
Yeah.
think just by looking at English words, you have been able to recite it so beautifully. मैं एक छोटा सा, मैं एक नन्हा सा बच्चा हूँ, right? It was very cute and very beautiful the way you recited it. And very nice, great bhavs. And it was sung really very well, very melodiously, I must say. So thank you. Thank you again for that.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Yes, last two.
Yes, please go ahead. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Yaman Ranjan ji wanted to sing a couple of lines as well, or is it a question?
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Yeah.
Yeah, real quick. Yeah.
Yes, one real quick. It is on Bhagwan Krishna. So, तारा है सारा जमाना शाम हमको भी तारो, तारा है सारा जमाना शाम हमको भी तारो, हमने सुना है शाम को बुझा को तारा, हमने सुना है शाम को बुझा को तारा, चंदन का करके बहाना शाम हमको भी तारो, चंदन का करके बहाना शाम हमको भी तारो, हमने सुना है शाम सबरी को तारा, हमने सुना है शाम सबरी को तारा, झूठन का करके बहाना शाम हमको भी तारो, झूठन का करके बहाना शाम हमको भी तारो, बोलिए कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय।
Wonderful, beautiful, Manoranjan ji. All right, so Payal ji is going to be the cherry on the cake, so we will preserve you for the last. Okay, now let me recite a couple of lines, and then you can do that. I want to leave people with the best taste. Okay, so we'll preserve you for the end. I'll recite a bhajan which I like. It's a different one. Mera aapki kripa se. Okay, it's very close to my heart. Bhajan, and something that I keep on reminding myself every day. So let me recite a few lines out of that. मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब काम हो रहा है, मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब काम हो रहा है, करते हो तुम कन्हैया मेरा नाम हो रहा है, करते हो तुम कन्हैया मेरा नाम हो रहा है, मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब काम हो रहा है, पतवार के बिना ही मेरी नाव चल रही है, हैरान है जमाना मंजिल भी मिल रही है, करता नहीं मैं कुछ भी सब काम हो रहा है, मेरा आपकी कृपा से सब काम हो रहा है. Thank you. All right, over to you, Payalji then.
Very nice, beautiful, very bhavpurna singing, Nitinji. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that is my favorite bhajan, that anytime things get done, I know it's not me doing it. God is somehow getting it done. So, all right, Payalji, over to you for the
Radhe
cherry on
Radhe
the cake for
Payalji,
today.
please go ahead.
Yes, राधे राधे। बहुत ही भावपूर्ण भजन की प्रस्तुति आशा जी के शब्दों में।
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah. So today for a change, I have prepared one Ram bhajan. So yeah. प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम राम राम, प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम राम राम, राम 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 श्री राम राम राम, राम 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 श्री राम राम राम, प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम राम राम, राम 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 श्री राम राम राम, पाप कटे दुख मिटे लेत राम नाम, पाप कटे दुख मिटे लेत राम नाम, भव समुद्र सुखद नाव एक राम नाम, भव समुद्र सुखद नाव एक राम नाम, प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम राम राम, राम 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 श्री राम राम राम, मात पिता बंधु सखा सब ही राम नाम, मात पिता बंधु सखा सब ही राम नाम, भक्त जनन जीवन धन एक राम नाम, भक्त जनन जीवन धन एक राम नाम, प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम राम राम, राम 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 श्री राम राम राम, राम 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 श्री राम राम राम। राधे राधे।
Beautiful, Payalji, like
Beautiful,
always.
very
Take
beautiful.
us to another world altogether. So you've got a beautiful voice and bhav, so maybe that's a seva you can do as you go along, right? Along with other sevas. So beautiful. And I think you're doing that already because these few minutes that we spend, I'm very sure it is inspiring people and giving them that feeling of devotion, just
Thank you
immersing
so
in
much.
the beautiful renditions that you do. So thank you so much for that.
Thank
All
you.
right, I think there are some comments now from Sakar ji and Asha ji. You said Hindi and Asha ji is back. So Asha ji, अब हमें अपनी हिंदी का प्रयोग करने का अवसर प्रदान करेंगी. तो let's hear from Asha ji and Sakar ji real quick.
Asha ji, Radhe Radhe, please.
थैंक यू। सच में जो कहा पायल जी ने वही मैं बोलने वाली थी, चैट में लिखने वाली थी कि बहुत ही भावपूर्ण एक्सप्रेशंस के साथ नितिन जी ने गाया और मेरा भी वो फेवरेट भजन है। सभी ने बहुत सुंदर गाया और मैं यही हूँ, कहीं जाती नहीं हूँ। ये सेशन छोड़ के बैक आने का सवाल ही नहीं, उसके लिए है कि जो गया हूँ तो मैं भी कभी ये अपनी आवाज में कुछ पेश करूंगी। मगर बहुत ही सुंदर, और आज बहुत ही सुंदर पायल जी के लिए भी बहुत ही प्रशंसा मेरे मन में है। बिल्कुल ही सब ऐसे ही भक्तिपूर्ण माहौल में डूबे रहें, यही कामना।
वेरी नाइस, वेरी धन्यवाद आशा जी। हम आपके मुखारविंद से भजनों के प्रवाह का इंतजार करेंगे। आप आइए और हर दिन अब हम सुर गंगा में अपने आप को में स्नान करते हैं और आई थिंक आपके मुखारविंद से भी हम सुनने के लिए रियली कह रहा हूँ मैं, सही इच्छुक हैं।
नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि इंग्लिश वर्ड प्रोहिबिटेड है, मगर आप बहुत खूबसूरती से ये हिंदी का प्रयोग करते हैं तो बहुत अच्छा लगता है। थैंक यू वेरी मच एंड आई विल आल्सो ट्राई। मैं भी कोशिश करूंगी।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, यही दिस इज द होल आइडिया, बिकॉज वी डू द ज्ञान aspect, the tattva gyan aspect of it for 1 hour, and last few minutes it's good to immerse in devotion so that we can balance it out.
मन में गूंजता रहता है ये सब,
गूंजता रहता है। It's a good way to wrap up your session and day, right? So very nice.
Thank you so much.
आप धन्यवाद।
Thank you.
Akash ji, you
धन्यवाद
wanted to
आशा
add
जी।
something?
Sakarji, Radhe Radhe.
साकार जी, आपका नाम हमें बहुत अच्छा लगा। निराकार होता तो फिर हम बात करते। आप कृपया करके बात कीजिए।
राधे राधे। पहले
राधे।
मैं कहना चाहता हूँ मैं नेपाल से हूँ, पर मुझे थोड़ा थोड़ा हिंदी बोलना आता है, सो मैं कोशिश करूँगा। ये मेरा शायद दूसरा या तीसरा
कोई बात नहीं,
सेशन है।
कोशिश कीजिए।
और
आप नेपाल से हैं। कृष्ण का भजन वहाँ बहुत पॉपुलर है।
oh yeah,
तोपिनी
yes,
कृष्णा के, डू यू नो दैट?
yes, मेरे पेरेंट्स, मैं जब बड़ा हुआ, मेरे पेरेंट्स कृष्ण प्रणामी सेक्ट में थे, सो मुझे मुझे थोड़ा थोड़ा बहुत पता है। पर मैं अभी अभी जब आपने वो भजन गाया, मैं मान्या अरोरा का भजन थोड़ा बहुत सुनता था यूट्यूब में, और मुझे एक याद आया, इसलिए मुझे वो गाने का
हाँ जी, बोलिए।
मन हुआ। और मेरे हिंदी के लिए मुझे माफ करना।
कोई बात नहीं, आप कोशिश कीजिए और
हाँ,
that will be fine.
ओके। मीठे रस से भरी ओरी राधा रानी लागे, महारानी लागे, मन्ने खारो खारो यमुना जी गो पानी लागे। यमुना जी तो कारी कारी, राधा गोरी गोरी, वृंदावन में धूम मचावे बरसाने की छोरी, ब्रज धाम राधा जू की राजधानी लागे, राजधानी लागे, मन्ने खारो खारो यमुना जीरो पानी लागे। हो मीठे रस से भरी ओरी राधा रानी लागे, महारानी लागे, मन्ने खारो खारो यमुना जीरो पानी लागे। राधे राधे।
ब्यूटीफुल साकार जी, आपकी बहुत ही अच्छे से आपने जस्टिस किया इस भजन का, गाने का। बहुत प्यारा भजन है ये। इट वाज वेरी मेलोडियसली एंड प्रॉपर्ली sung, so we'd love to hear more from you. धन्यवाद.
धन्यवाद। राधे
Gratitude for coming on our session and lending your voice to the bhajan. So beautiful. Loved hearing it from you.
थैंक यू। धन्यवाद भाई।
आप अभी आना शुरू किया आप सेशन में, या पहले से आते हैं?
नहीं, मैं अभी अभी मुझे कृपालु जी महाराज के बारे में पता था, पर स्वामी मुकुंदानंद के बारे में अभी अभी 2-3 महीने से पता चला है, और मैं थोड़ा थोड़ा इन्वॉल्व होने लाइक चाह रहा हूँ। और मैंने एक्चुअली वॉलंटियरिंग पे भी 2-3 बार एप्लीकेशन सबमिट किया, पर पता नहीं, मैं फीडबैक के लिए एक्चुअली वेट कर रहा हूँ उसके बारे में।
आप वॉलंटियरिंग की एप्लीकेशन हमारे फीडबैक ट्रैकर में भर के देखिए एक बार, देखिए क्या होता है फिर।
फीडबैक ट्रैकर,
फ्लड गेट्स खुल जाएंगे आपके लिए वॉलंटियरिंग के। तो आप डालिए अपना नाम। ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता कि आपने एप्लीकेशन डाली और आपके पास काम ना आए। सो वेरी नाइस। आप प्लीज फीडबैक ट्रैकर में डालिए, एंड I'll put you in with there's a lot of work. आप बहुत काम है, सेवा की आप करने को आतुर हैं, और काम ना हो ऐसा हो नहीं सकता। सो
ओके,
धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू,
आई नो
बाय।
वी आर लेट, पल्लवी जी के लिए भी लेट हो रहा है। अब अपनी हम क्लोजिंग प्रेयर करते हैं जल्दी से। साकार जी, वेरी ग्लैड टू हियर यू, एंड प्लीज कीप कमिंग टू द सेशन एंड गेट योर फ्रेंड्स एंड फैमिली एज वेल. Let's do our closing prayer for the day.
Thank you, Sakarji.
Yeah.
Let's do closing prayers.
कोई नहीं आज? Nobody.
Who is doing? Sandhya, do you want to do?
Okay, Pavanji is come. Go ahead, please.
ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। राधे राधे।
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Palji. Okay, Radhe Radhe. Everybody have a wonderful day. Great rest of your evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do a little bit of knowledge check and a presentation as well. So wear your Kahoot and quiz hats on. and it's a good way to recap and revise the concepts that we have been talking about. So I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Radhe Radhe, and have a good day.
Thank you, Nitinji, for another awesome session. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed day and blessed night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for the opportunity.